Hey EXPs, welcome to this special edition of pop-up interviews. We are going to be speaking with none other than our EXP Elite of the Week, Ashley Farringer. I first want to say thank you to Ashley for taking the time to go ahead and speak with us and join us on this very special interview to discuss her journey in the industry. As you guys know, this group is about assisting other EXPs, empowering the industry, providing free resources, free knowledge, and insight from other industry professionals, not just myself, that would all be beneficial and that would assist you on your journey to succeeding as an EXP. So Ashley, not only was she awarded our EXP Elite of the Week, but she is taking time out of her busy schedule to jump on here and just discuss her journey from brand ambassador to tour manager to CDL-A driver. And I'm adding now, Ashley, and provide tips on how you as an EXP can succeed in this industry. So we did a quick test on my page a few minutes ago, and we're live now here in the EXP Elite group. EXPs, if you don't mind, please comment with where you're from, what city you're in right now. If you're executing an event or a tour, let us know, what tour, what program you're on. And if you have any questions for Ashley, definitely drop them in the comments. We'll get to them as we go through the live video. And if there's anything that you want to comment or say, I know a lot of you, when I posted the EXP Elite of the Week on Monday, you had some great feedback for Ashley and just your experiences in working with her. So thank you to everybody who took the time to acknowledge Ashley and to share your experiences with her. Because from what I hear, she's a awesome tour manager and just an all around great person to be around. So hopefully I get to meet you in person soon. But definitely, EXP's questions, comments, thoughts, drop them and we'll definitely get to them. So let me just wave to everybody real quick. And and Ashley,
I do want to
uh,
say this. I said it on the test, and I'd like to say this now. The reason I'm doing this interview is because I love what you're doing, and I feel like there are a few of us out there that more than rising to the tops ourselves, we like
mhm,
to empower, and we don't
yeah,
want to just be lonely up there. We want to bring the whole ship, the whole fleet to space with us, just take
mhm,
off. So I
mhm.
really respect and appreciate the work that you've been doing out there. And I hope that I'm able to make an impact on some EXP's lives to help them skyrocket.
Well, by you taking the time to do this interview and
Yeah.
you were nominated as the EXP Elite of the Week, it doesn't just, I don't just email you and say, hey, I want to feature you. Someone had to reach out to me and feel that
Oh,
you were just special to be nominated for that award or that recognition.
thank you.
So just know that what you're doing is impacting others as well, and it's coming from a great and a humbling place. And I'm a
That's
firm
sweet.
believer in helping other people. My journey is my journey, and everything that I've gone through, I didn't have people when I first started 10 years ago to assist me. So
Hmm.
having this platform, having this area to assist others is important. And what's for you is for you.
I don't
If the
even know if
job's for
Facebook was
you.
around, 10 years ago
Mm-hmm.
when I think about it. So yeah, this industry has changed a lot over the past
Mm-hmm.
10 years. Expect,
Yes, it
you
has.
being from this area, I'm sure also,
Mm-hmm.
we're very lucky to be in an area that's a major city, so we were able to find work, through these
Mm-hmm.
10 years. But some people, it could have been a little harder before Facebook was as popular as it is with these
Mm-hmm.
groups.
Mm-hmm. And she's
Yeah.
talking about Miami. Shouts out to all my Floridians, my
Miami.
Miami people. We in the house. But let's go ahead and get started. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you began as a EXP in the industry.
Okay, I began as an EXP in this industry. I actually started before I was in management, so management I was familiar with, but I did management for retail. And I actually originally started in the EXP world as a brand ambassador because I found out that I was making more with less responsibility as a brand ambassador than I was as a full-time manager. So it was very easy for me to step into the EXP world just because it's higher wages and it's typically contracted work, so there's a lot more flexibility and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And to from the beginning to step down from being a manager and have less responsibility but be paid more, is an empowering feeling also. But I did have that managerial background, so it wasn't too difficult for me to, climb up that little mountain. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I started in the tobacco world. I did tours and stuff like that. But when I very first started some more like experiential type marketing, I started as a costume character, as the bunny for
Oh.
Nesquik. And I think it's really important to, like, in this field, any day we can be in any position. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
kind and you have to be nice, because one day this BA might be your manager, because it's
Mm-hmm.
contracted work. We're our own bosses, and that's also
Mm-hmm.
why it's important to look out for your fellow people, because you never know. One day I have a program, the next day they have a program, but we all have to look out for one another. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, it's been a journey, and I I'm happy that I was the bunny also, because on this recent Bumblebee trip, I really like was able to sympathize with my partner, and sympathize with breaks and put myself in their shoes. And I think, as a leader, you shouldn't be a boss, but you should put yourself on their level, and
Yeah.
everyone should you should be the strongest BA. In order to be a manager,
Mm-hmm.
you should be the
Yes.
strongest
Yes.
BA, not just a boss, not just someone who delegates or who, stays in their lane. You need to, not feel silly wearing the uniform. Roll up your sleeves and show your team how to do it by being a strong
Example.
leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
leading
not
a
being
strong
afraid
example. Yeah,
to work in those different positions. So
absolutely.
your first brand ambassador gig, like, did you understand what the industry was? Were you like, oh man, like this is cool, like I could do this full time? Was it like a realization that you wanted to quit your management job? Did you quit initially? Did it take
Yeah,
time?
initially I quit a full time. I had benefits, I had vacation days, girl, I had all of
Oh.
it. But I quit it because even as the bunny, it's also just, it brought so much joy to make kids smile. Like, this isn't, it's, I think costume characters are some of the most difficult work, but it's some of the most rewarding work, because you're
Mm-hmm.
every day enlightening people's lives, you're touching people's lives. We brought the Nesquik bunny, I think, also to like a children's hospital at one point. And so
Mm-hmm.
to see there's like a little girl with cancer, to like make her smile. And she was like, "Oh, I'm a cracker bunny, like eating crackers or whatever. Like, we have our bunny." Like, it's so much more rewarding than just day to day. But I also think it's really important to find a program and to find a brand that parallels your passions and parallels your beliefs, because I began with tobacco. I don't smoke cigarettes. My
Yeah.
face is on Newport. I don't, something that's happened through the years is I've learned to make sure that the brands that I represent my own parallel passions. So I don't feel like I'm selling a lie. I feel like I'm selling, like, well, something I believe in, and it's not selling it. I believe in it, so it is. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So are
Hmm.
you the type of person, because a lot of EXPs are like, well, I won't do tobacco, and you've already stated I won't do tobacco because I don't smoke, or I don't believe it's great. I
You
won't
know, I
promote
I did
alcohol
tobacco
because
for
alcohol.
8 years. So I can't say that I won't do it. I've never been a cigarette smoker, and I did do it for 8 years, and I did the best job that I could. But I can say in my heart that I didn't feel as good in my heart. And so I took it upon myself to make sure, in my older years as an XP, to make sure that my passions are paralleled in the programs that I'm picking up. And,
Mm-hmm.
when it's something you believe in and you're interviewing, the interviewer is going to feel that. They're going to sense that. They're going to want you to be in that position, because they feel like you belong there, because you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you belong there. And it's
Yeah.
really about how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
If you believe it, then it's not like selling it to anyone. It's something that's just, it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
your journey from brand ambassador, you were first a mascot. And then did you have
Yeah.
someone like guide you or mentor you to tell you about the different groups, or how to move up in the industry? Like, how did you learn about the different agencies and your resume? Like, how did you get to that point where you were consistently
I did have a manager that did help me. He's actually big in the XP world. His name is Gabriel Garcia, and he
oh,
was
Gabriel.
my
Mm-hmm.
manager for Nesquik
Mm-hmm.
originally, and he hired me on as a bunny. I did have managerial experience, so he also promoted me to team lead, and he told me about my LinkedIn. He told me about LinkedIn, actually, and
Mm-hmm.
this is like, what, I guess in 2014. So I'm very thankful to have a mentor like that who, I had been in the industry for a while, but I was in tobacco and tobacco. The great thing about certain programs, there's always a positive to everything. That program had longevity. I worked that program for 8 years. That says something,
Mm. Yeah.
So I was in it, but I didn't realize. And like I said, Facebook groups weren't a thing, weren't as popular back then as they are today. They weren't as strong back then as they are today. So I'm very thankful that he showed me from the beginning a good foundation on how to just be professional and how to carry yourself a certain way. And, if you take yourself seriously, other people will take you seriously as well. So,
Hmm.
yeah, Gabriel Garcia, shout out.
And then from there, the 8 years that you were still doing the tobacco, you were still working other brand ambassador programs. So, what did you learn outside of just the tobacco program on how to excel and become a great brand ambassador, team lead? What was it that gave you the confidence? Because you already came from the management level, but what was it that said to you, you know what, I'm more than just a brand ambassador. I can move
the
up.
the well, the move up, I even got that before from Starbucks, actually. One of my first jobs ever was Starbucks. And the moment they hired me, they taught me that, and it's probably the skills I keep as a manager, actually, because it was my first
Hmm.
management position with Starbucks. They were like, any position you want, you can have it. You just have to want it. You have to show that you want it.
Hmm.
They believe that the customer doesn't come first, the employee comes first. And with happier
Hmm.
employees, you'll automatically have happier customers. And so, yeah, Starbucks, they taught me those like managerial skills before I even went into retail. And so I was promoted within 3 months at Starbucks. And yeah, I feel like I took that style of management with me to all the other programs, leading by example, taking care of my people so they take care of the program.
Hmm.
Happier staff means happier program. You
Hmm.
don't, if your staff is happy, I managed a program for Samsung and my staff, they were happy. And because they were happy, they made me look really good.
Yeah.
Because they were happy, they sold the most. Like our market killed it. Um, and it was because not just that they were happy, not just the good communication, but also our program, they were cool enough to like have incentives and have encouragements to help our BAs reach their maximum potential. So they were
Hmm.
offering, I think they offered like a free phone to the program that does the best. And those little incentives that programs can do really also make a huge difference, I think.
Hmm. So, what are some of the
Mhm.
things when you moved from brand ambassador position? What
Mhm.
or how were you able to sell yourself for those management opportunities? Was it something you did with your resume when you applied for opportunities? Was it tough for you to get your first management position? Because a lot of brand
You
ambassadors say,
know,
I continue
you
to
know,
apply, and I'm not getting that
like I said, in
opportunity.
this field, at
Hmm.
any day you could be at any position, but I think because this work is contracted, if there's anything
Hmm.
that we have experience with, it's interviewing.
Hmm.
And I would say to those XPs, interview for all those management positions. And if you don't get them, that's okay. Take the brand ambassador positions. But guess what? What I didn't realize is that I was getting practice interviewing. And I was so discouraged. There's this dream job. I had to have it. And because of that, I was nervous. And I don't think I interviewed as well as I would have. And it's funny because the jobs that we don't really want, we're way more confident and calm, and we usually get. So
Hmm.
I think that it's important to interview for every job that you can. And there's a cat. Oh, say hi. Don't be discouraged if you don't get it because it's part of the journey. And like, and also coming off a big program, even being like a team lead in Nesquik for 3 years, it was so discouraging to apply to the same company and they not know who I am or things like that. And this happens, but it's important to just build your strength as an interviewer and just take this. Like I said, I didn't realize it while the journey was happening. I was just very discouraged, like, oh, I didn't get this job. But now I'm at a level where I've interviewed so many times. I'm calm as a cucumber and I don't care if I get it. And I think that's the trick. You have to not
Hmm.
have too much embedded into it. And
Hmm.
yeah, just be as professional, respond as quickly as possible. Try not to have any typos. Um, Also, referrals are great. If you've worked with a company before and if you've managed a program before, see if you have anyone in that company anymore to see if they can give you a referral. But also just let your interviewer talk.
Yeah.
Let them talk. Don't talk
And
too
you
much.
And you mentioned LinkedIn too, and I'm a
Oh yeah.
big pusher and component for LinkedIn, and it has helped me
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
obtain opportunities. And I've had account managers reach out to me about management opportunities. How has LinkedIn assisted you?
Um, Actually, yeah, I think I want to say that two of my tours have been from LinkedIn.
Hmm.
One of them was just a company. I saw they were hiring on LinkedIn and I applied like on my own email. And then another time I was like, for my Clorox store, I was referred on LinkedIn. And, referrals, like I said, if you have someone within a marketing company that you have good rapport with, why do we do this? Because word of mouth is more impactful than a billboard.
Hmm.
That's why we're in this
Hmm.
industry. Well, if we take those same skills and put them towards ourselves, that same word of
Hmm.
mouth, our word of mouth, but obviously that's going to happen if you have a good reputation and if you're professional,
Hmm.
you've got to have a good program for them to want to refer you, and you've got to
Yeah.
do well and keep a good contact with these people if you want a good referral. Yeah.
That's great advice. And then just speaking from, and we had a question here. Maybe we'll answer it now. Travis wants to know, Ashley, what are some of the techniques you have in staying busy with multiple agencies to be working consistently?
One of the things that I wanted to touch on, and I said this before, when you apply for these manager jobs and you're not getting them, but you're getting brand ambassador jobs, be the best brand ambassador you can be. Treat that brand ambassador job like it's a manager position.
Hmm.
Act, always be on point, always be the best version of yourself. And, you know, um, that's the thing, even with Mosaic, I started as a bunny. I was a team lead. I got to like assistant, field manager, and then all of a sudden they didn't know who I was. And I started as a brand ambassador with Mosaic again. I
Hmm.
I took jobs no one wanted. My partner had gotten a manager position for Walmart and I was his BA and I didn't care. I took that job and I worked and I did the best job I could and I would pick up any on booked out any brand ambassador gigs I could for that year. And it sucked for me and it made me feel terrible, but it's what helped them notice who I was, and it's what helped me get back to where I feel like I should be. But like
Hmm.
I said, never get discouraged. These Facebook groups are really awesome to help you find work in between. And, if you do make friends with a recruiter, hit them up. Be like, hey, do you
Hmm.
have anything? Okay, you don't have a manager position. Do you have any long, steady brand ambassador programs?
Hmm.
Because we all have bills to pay.
Hmm.
And because yeah, man, if they see that you're willing to work the grunt work and they see that you're professional, then they will feel comfortable in giving you a higher position in the future.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Travis. Everything Ashley's saying is on point. I will
Yeah.
add, like she said, building a rapport with the account managers is important. I would come off programs immediately after the program was over. I would send a thank you email for the
Oh
opportunity
yeah.
and ask them, if you have any other opportunities in the future, definitely keep me in mind. And
Hmm.
also taking the time to create that LinkedIn profile, even if you just have brand ambassador or team lead opportunities where you worked as a manager or worked in a management role, that LinkedIn profile is also key. But
Oh
it took
yeah,
time. It
LinkedIn.
doesn't
It is
happen
good.
overnight. And a lot of people think that, oh, I got my brand ambassador job or I work 5, 6 jobs. I'm ready to be a team lead. I should be, transitioning to a manager or a tour manager. And Ashley's gonna attest to this. Like it takes time and everything
Hmm.
that you go through as a brand ambassador is preparing you. Everything that you see
Yeah,
other managers go through is
I
preparing you
agree.
for your opportunity. And you have to be ready because that
Hmm.
might be your one shot, one opportunity. And if you mess it up, it could be tough for that agency to want to hire you for anything in the
Yeah, it's
future.
true.
So
Yeah,
definitely.
one write up will affect other programs, absolutely.
Hmm.
And what she's saying, LinkedIn, even if the company doesn't hire you off LinkedIn, they're gonna look like a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
jobs when they interview you, they do they do their digging. So also make sure your Facebook is appropriate. Where you know, it just depends on how much you want to promote yourself. If you have experience driving vehicles, you know, have some photos of that on your page that are public that they can see because they will
Mm-hmm.
snoop. And it's okay to have your page private too, you know, but make sure that that what you are representing is something that most brands will want to
Yeah,
represent their brand. And usually that means a
absolutely.
clean canvas, unless you got a cool, awesome brand that wants like edgy people, which is
Mm-hmm.
tobacco. But yeah.
And then,
Hmm.
so you have your CDLA, and a lot of EXPs are wanting to go ahead and take that transition and take that leap into obtaining their CDL. How was it for you? Let's talk through that a little bit. You were getting your CDL. Did you get it in
So
Florida?
yes, I did it in Florida. Ah, did you get yours in Florida as well?
I got mine in Georgia,
Georgia.
so it's a little different.
A lot of people fly from out of state actually to go to the place that I went to. I guess because it's a more affordable place. Metropolitan
Oh,
Metropolitan 79th
okay.
Street. But yeah, so what I would suggest, some people, so for your CDL, you need to do the written portion and then you also need to go to a school. What
Hmm.
I would suggest for the written portion is there's an app and it has most of the questions on it, CDL. I studied a ton of things, but I wish I only studied this app.
Hmm.
And I want to just say it's called like CDL app or something like that, CDL
Yeah.
handbook.
Hmm.
I don't remember exactly what it's called, but what I also would suggest is take as many endorsements as you can
Yeah.
because take all of them because when you go to school, if you decide later you want to add endorsements, you're going to have to go back to school. So that's a
Hmm.
huge thing. And then the more endorsements you have, the more potential tours you can pick up. My other suggestion is if I'm actually a very good test taker, so I'm very fortunate. I passed the test the first time. My partner was not as fortunate. Um, I would suggest what you could do is you could do each section. If you're not a good test taker, you could do one section, leave, go to your car, study, go back to the other section, leave, go to your car, study, and do it like that. Because if you fail a section, then it's $10 to retake it. And, you know, we're trying to make money, not spend money. So that's a little pro
Hmm.
tip. Also, while you're taking the written portion, if you are not 100% sure, just skip it. You only have to answer so many correct, but it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you answer all of them.
Yeah.
So if there's like a couple that you're like not sure, just keep skipping until you like have the ones that you're certain on. As far as like the actual school goes, girl, I feel like a mechanic now, you know? It's different. It's totally different. I
Yeah.
didn't think that it would be different. When I didn't have my CDL, I was like, but I drive, I know everything, I'm so skilled,
It's
whatever. It is different.
different.
I have such a
Yes.
different mindset. I used to, I'm very lucky because I tour with my partner, my love. He's my partner. We've been working programs together for the last 4 years. So he knows cars. So I never had to worry about it in the past. And that was just my thing. I'm like, don't worry, I'll lead the program. You drive, you know, like cool. No, actually now I feel like a completely different person. Like I feel like
Hmm.
a mechanic, okay? Like
Hmm.
I never thought that I would feel like a mechanic. He has this old car here, this Camaro, okay? And I've always looked at it and just been like, why? Like, why do we have this old car in our yard? Now he pops up in the hood and I'm like, that is a fine piece of machinery you have there. I can name every part under his hood. It's brand new. I'm like, I understand. Like, she's so beautiful under the
Hmm.
hood. Like, I actually get it. And also, I feel safer on the road. I feel like I drive safer because I'm more in the know. You know, it's difficult to, you think you're driving
Hmm.
safely, but you don't know all the laws and the rules for a larger vehicle. And it's not the
Yep.
same as a smaller vehicle. And
Yep.
so I just feel empowered. I feel safer. I like empowered in the sense when I smell smells or I see like you know the tires are affected, I know what to look for and I know how to fix it, and
Hmm.
I don't feel as helpless or like, oh, I'll just have someone else take care of that for me. I feel like I could do all of it. I don't want to say that out
Hmm.
loud. I probably could do a tour on my own,
Yeah. And I try
which
to
I don't think I
tell,
felt like I would be safe before doing that.
And I try to tell a lot of the females, because a lot of my friends are like, I'll just get my B and be done. And I'm like, no, if you're going to go to
Yeah,
school to get your B, you might as well get
you
your
might as
A.
well.
The only
Yeah.
difference is the truck. That's the only
Mm-hmm.
difference. Everything is else. Your written test is going to be the same. You have to do air brakes. You're going to have to do general knowledge, just like everybody
Mm-hmm.
else.
Yep.
You'll just be testing in a different vehicle. So, did you
Mm-hmm.
feel, as a female, did you feel like in a room full of guys? Like, were there a lot of women in your
I was the
class?
only girl there. I was the only girl there. They all knew me. Um, they were, it definitely, people are very surprised. Even not even just at the school, even at the truck stops now.
Mm-hmm.
When they see a girl get out at a truck stop, they're like, really?
Yeah.
People are very surprised. And it's funny because my partner actually got a CDL-B. So when we're out on tour, and also, being a female manager, people also don't expect you to be the manager. So being
Yes.
on tour, he's like, actually, no, she has the A. Like she's the manager, and it's fun
Oh
to
no.
see people react to that.
And
Yeah,
then
it's
two, with like in Georgia, I got mine in Georgia. So there's programs that you
Georgia's
can go through
awesome.
if you don't have the funding, if you don't have any money to get your CDL and pay for it. In Georgia, it's between like 4 to 5 thousand. But if you don't have the money, if you like us contractors, there's programs, different programs that you can go through in Georgia that'll help you assist in paying
That's
for it,
nice.
either all of it or some of it. Do you guys have anything like that in Florida, or
I was
you
going
could
to
just give
say,
me a
well,
range, like how much
my
generally
my
does it cost?
school was actually only like 1,200. So I had
Wow.
one of the cheaper schools. That's why people fly from other states to my school. Again, Metropolitan on 79th Street in Miami. People fly from
We
other states because even with their plane ticket, it's still cheaper to take it at my school. But
Yeah.
there are schools that offer it depends. There's jobs that will you can get your CDL for free, and it's like a work play kind of thing
Program, yeah.
program. There's one thing though with my school that could be an issue for people. My school worked for me because my job was already willing to hire me. They knew that I was obtaining my CDL for this job and I had already had a job locked down. And now I've toured, so I've gathered all those hours. Just be careful with your school and with depending on the job that you select because some places will not hire you if you don't have so many hours driving experience. And
Mm-hmm.
so some schools charge more because they give you that driving experience. And
Mm-hmm.
so they have to have so a set amount of hours. It might even be 200 hours, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yes, my school, definitely I got lucky just because I jumped on a tour right away and I've put on a lot of miles on the bus. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
But
how long was your course? Was it 3 weeks? Like usually ours is like 1 week in school and then 2 weeks in the yard. How was yours?
Yeah, so typically, once you obtain your permit, you have to do your tests separate from the school. Once you obtain your permit, you have to wait 2 weeks before you can take your tests.
What?
Yeah, it's a 14-day. I don't know if that's just Florida. So they make you
Yeah.
wait 2 weeks before you can do your test after you get your permit. And during those
Wow.
2 weeks, you go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
can take longer or shorter depending on your thing. But because I had already locked down a program, I needed to expedite as quickly as
Mm-hmm.
possible. I actually, with their schedule, the quickest they were able to fit me in was 18 days after I got my permit. So,
Oh, good.
and also the school, they allow you to come in whenever you want. Girl, I had the funniest farmer tan. I felt like a real truck driver from the beginning because, and I like learned with my hat and my gloves and my stick, okay, in the yard. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I
But
do.
tight, secure, no cracks. But yeah, so I would wake up because it was an expedited course and because I had to learn a lot in a little time. I would get there from freaking open to close all those
Mm-hmm.
days, and so I can get as
Mm.
much information in. I would say the most difficult portion is just your pre-trip inspection, and that's the portion that makes you feel like a mechanic. So
Yes.
it's memory,
Yeah.
but it's worth it because
Mm-hmm.
it's really helped out on tour, and it really is empowering. And once you get that, if you're able to, if you're a good driver, you're able to park and you're able to drive and follow the law, then the road test and the parking tests are pretty easy.
Yeah. I struggle with
Same.
alley dock. I'm not gonna lie. I
Oh
was
yeah,
good
alley dog,
everything
yeah.
else. But that
Yeah.
alley dog, woo, it got me. It got me
Gotcha.
on my test. Yes, but I didn't point out, which is good. But it is it
But
that was the only
it was
thing.
probably only at the test, right? Because once you've ever
Yeah.
had to park, it's just the nerve. It's because it's a test.
There,
And if
yeah.
anyone has, if you get nervous during tests, it happens. But it's cool when you find a school that's cool and that you vibe with. Usually you can't vibe with your instructors, but I was really lucky that they were like cracking jokes and like trying to get us to laugh because they like saw us like all like all tense and stuff. So yeah, it's really important that you pick a school that you mesh with. Read the reviews. Read the
Yeah.
reviews so even if
And
they're
that's
bad, you know what to expect.
That's true. And
Yeah,
pick a school that you're going to learn the right way and the correct way. And that was
absolutely.
important to me. Like, there's so many schools out here that a lot of EXPs may get confused. They feel like, I'm just going to go at this school just to go through it. No, you want to learn the right way, because when you're out here on
Absolutely.
tour, a lot of these agencies, a lot of the people that are working as account managers don't have any experience with DOT, don't have any experience with your reset hours and how you're
Hmm.
supposed to be operating your vehicle and what to look for, or
Hmm.
how to go through a weigh station and what states, Arizona, New
And
Mexico,
it's
what you got to be
and
mindful of. So
yeah.
it's important that you take that. You're paying for it, or even if you're going through a grant and it's being given to you for free, you got to take it serious, because when you're out here by yourself, it's no joke.
What I was going to
So
say, something that you mentioned that's important to know is that your CDL license is your license, and you just need to make sure that the company you work for understands the rules and regulations that you have to comply by, because you will lose your license, if you're not complying
mhm,
by these regulations, and they're not going to be affected.
yeah,
So, again, come from your heart space, not from your ego. And if
mhm,
there is any conflicts with drive times or things like that, just communicate that with them. Or,
mhm,
um, like I think when we first picked up our bus, we had we're supposed to keep the aisles clear, and we had all this fun new inventory of stuff that they loaded in our bus through all the aisles. So just stuff like that, they don't know the rules. And before I got my CDL, I didn't either. So it's as simple as that. And
mhm,
they're not going to be held accountable, but you will. And
yeah,
you don't want to lose your CDL because this program is probably short and your CDL is like, forever.
forever.
Hmm.
So how has it been? You said your partner has his B, you have your A. Once you
Hmm.
obtained your CDL, of course, you already had a job opportunity waiting with Clorox, I'm assuming, right? Was it the Clorox
Yes,
store?
yeah.
So
Clorox.
what, since that tour has wrapped and it's been over, have you been able to see the fruits of you having to pay for your CDL and now being able to have
I just
consistent
I just feel
opportunities?
like
Has it
even
helped you?
I feel like even just that one tour, it was worth it. Because having your CDL, you're going to have a higher pay wage than not having your CDL, and it makes sense. It's a degree. It's not a degree, but it's school. You paid for an
Certification.
education, exactly,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's something that you paid to obtain. And like I said, before I had it, I didn't think it mattered, but now that I do have it, I can understand why I'm making more, because I'm also responsible for much larger vehicles, and other
Mm-hmm.
people are at risk. I'm sure on the road you've seen, accidents or things
Mm-hmm.
happen with truck drivers who aren't, maybe following their compliance. But yeah, so I also too, not even just having your CDL, but when you're already a body in motion stays in motion. So when you're on tour and people see you on tour, of course, other opportunities for tours are going to come your way, and it's
Right.
up to you to see if you can fit them in or wiggle them in. Um, I do think that, it does set you aside having a CDL, because these days, there's just so many tours that require it. And
Yeah.
it's because it makes insurance cheaper, I think, for the
Yeah.
most part.
It does.
Insurance, the company is trying to save some money, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes insurance cheaper because you're a safe driver with your CDL. But I actually locked down a local program, so I won't be using my CDL this winter.
Oh.
um, I only did that, and you're from Florida, so you should
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Touring year round, it's a lot of fun, but now I know that I'm really excited to be home for the winter, and
Yeah.
I miss the hurricane season. I'm coming home for the winter. So yeah, so I did lock down something to the end of the year. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I'm sure I'll be back on tour in January.
Get that tour bug. It comes
Yeah,
back. You have
exactly.
that time,
Oh
and then it's
yeah.
like, ooh, I got to get back out there, and I got to
Oh
get on the
yeah. Oh
road.
yeah.
So out of all the positions that you've been able to work in the industry and just being able to progress from brand ambassador to manager to CDL-A driver, what would you say is your favorite? And you may not have a favorite, but what, and they may all be fulfilling, but what is one that you feel like, you have been able to really excel in, you've been able to, um, accomplish, or that you just love working in, whether it's brand ambassador, because a lot of
Um,
managers like to go back and work as a brand ambassador to still see, the industry and how it's progressing. So what would you say is like one
I
of your
mean,
favorites?
my heart is still always with like costume characters, just because I think it's just the most fun. Going from a tour where we had a costume character to just, a regular tour, it's a difference. Like, especially because well, the Bumblebee one, for example, I wasn't the character, although I did dress like Bumblebee for one activation. Again, you have to keep yourself in that same playing field. That one was just so much fun. Just because it was coming out. Did it pause? Okay. Because the movie was coming out, little kids were showing up and they felt like this was the real Bumblebee. So they wanted his autograph. So, like, you know, he felt famous and I felt like his, entourage, like, okay, paparazzi, whatever. So that one was a lot of fun just for being fun. But a program where I felt like the most stimulated was a team lead position for Samsung with Mosaic, just because I love technology. I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
was using my brain. I felt like every day, customers would come with a new problem and it was stimulating because I was solving it. And
Mm-hmm.
something that I do for not just like Samsung, I'm happy now I'm on a new technology program, but something that I like to do is whatever the brand is, I like obsess on YouTube and I like binge watch like any YouTube video I can find on this brand. And
Yeah.
I like became a freaking Samsung specialist. Like I could like solve anything. It was very empowering. And again, like I just felt like I was continuing my own education.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love stuff like that. Plus, the Samsung program, we killed it. Everyone got a free phone at the end of the program. People were getting bonuses because we sold, and it was my first time since retail that I've sold anything actually.
Mm.
So yeah, that was cool.
Okay. So being that you've worked and you still work and you are a manager, what are some things coming from the brand ambassador level that you look for in brand ambassadors that you hire, or when you're managing a program on site and maybe the staff at agency hired the brand ambassador, so you really had no idea as to what you were going to get? It's like a playing cards, and you
Mm.
get your set and you just don't know. You get some good, some bad, and some you want
Sometimes
to
it's
send home.
sometimes it's better getting random people. It's nice when you have people you can rely on and count on and trust, but sometimes it's better having random people because they're not as comfortable or they won't
Mm-hmm.
ask for as much days off or like, oh, can I come late today? Or sometimes it's actually nice having brand ambassadors you don't know just because they are willing to put in that work to, rise up themselves. But yeah,
So
what
what
I
do you
look
look
for
for?
is
Mm-hmm.
just reliable people that I feel like I can walk away and everything's going to be fine. People that I feel like, again, I feel like we all play all of these roles. I look for people that can play my role and I look to play their role. I look for people that, but not even just that, because not everyone has the same set of skills. It's nice to find a team that like balances really.
Mm-hmm.
Because if everyone is we need alphas and betas. We can't have all alphas. We can't have all betas. It's good to find people that complement one another. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
reliable, flexible, on
Mm-hmm.
time, who wants to work. I like to
Yeah.
hire people that want to work, plain and
Yes.
simple. Like,
Yes.
we all have bills to pay, and I want people that want to work to pay them.
Not entitled.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. We don't have
yeah.
time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree.
And like I said, sometimes we're managers and sometimes we're not. So,
Mm-hmm.
I want people that are team players that can
Yeah.
play all the roles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Good advice. And I hope all my EXPs, you guys are listening. Alex Costa said, awesome interview, ladies. Great points. Thanks for being so relatable. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to continue to keep talking. I'm not going to keep you much longer. So I got a couple more questions. I think we kind of touched on this already, but keys for success for anyone looking to obtain opportunities if they're beginning a career in the industry, because we already talked about consistent. So let's talk about the other side of the spectrum. Somebody who was just like you know, working in retail, and now they're like, oh my gosh, like I want to do something different. What is experiential marketing? What do I need to do to become a brand ambassador? What would you tell them? Like, what is some advice that you would tell them to be able to obtain brand ambassador opportunities that you
You
wish you would have
know,
known when you
I meet
started?
people on tour all the time, and I'm sure you do too, who are like, "What are you
Mm-hmm.
doing?" And it, like I said before, I love liberating people. I love telling people about this. There's so much of this work. The people that think that they have to keep it all to themselves are the people who probably aren't succeeding. The people
Mm-hmm.
whose basket tippeth over are the ones who are going to succeed because we're all going to rise to the top.
Yeah.
Flexibility. I usually just tell them like, hey, what's the major city near where you live? Look up a Facebook group. There's going to be
Mm-hmm.
Facebook groups, and because it's contracted work, we're always hiring. There's always a
Right.
new program, and all of us are in the same boat. So don't worry, it's not just
Mm-hmm.
you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the whole flexibility thing, the more availability that you have, the more they're going to want to schedule you. If you
Mm-hmm.
need like, oh, I need this day off, this day off, this day off, they're gonna be like, oh, maybe I should hire someone who has a little more availability.
Mm-hmm.
And then also just, represent yourself the way that you think that these brands would want. And it's usually a clean slate. I tell all my friends with facial piercings and stuff, like, hey, unless
Tone
you're
it
working a
down.
cool brand, they
Mm-hmm.
want you to look basic,
Mm-hmm.
basic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. Like just whatever the brand is, like that's the type of photos you should use,
Mm-hmm.
like adjusted accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And how
yeah.
have you
I
have
also
you
tell them the worse the product is for you, the more it probably pays. Alcohol, tobacco typically pay more, where
Mm-hmm.
like a
Mm-hmm.
kombucha might pay less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how about your resume? Have you tweaked your resume over the years? And
Oh
just a
yeah.
tip or something you would
Use a
give.
resume builder. I would say, they charge you like for a trial, like cancel it immediately. Use a resume builder because these resume builders today, they use the right words for your field and the words that you
Mm-hmm.
might not be thinking of. And also, try to tailor your resume to the job. Like look for words in the job description and put those words in your resume. Like, oh, it
Mm-hmm.
says that they want me to be able to do this. Well, I can do that, but I worded it differently. I should probably word it the way that they're trying to find those words.
Mm-hmm. And invest in
Or when you're
yourself too.
interviewing, throw those words out there like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
just write some keynotes. Don't write a lot of stuff because you don't want to be reading during an interview.
Yeah, and invest in yourself too. And
Oh, yes.
a lot of EXPs want you to just give me a job. Can you put me on? But you have to invest. You have to learn the industry and invest in your craft in order to excel.
Mm-hmm.
You invested in CDL-A school. It cost you
Mm-hmm.
$1,200, but look at the return, look
Mm-hmm.
at the payout. So a lot of EXPs they want a handout, and you have to invest. Whether that's, I mean, I provide free resources, but I also have a book. It's $15. You read my book, $15. You can a brand ambassador job. You'll make that back in an hour.
It's true.
So you have to invest in
Investing in
yourself.
yourself, absolutely. That's huge. That's like so much
Hmm.
huger than I can think. And it's not even just in this industry. It's like fill your cup and like take care
Yeah.
of yourself, especially on
Hmm.
tour.
Yeah.
Especially on tour. If you wake up like 5 minutes earlier and just like maybe do some yoga, meditate, just whatever you have for yourself that you like to do in the morning, because it's hard, when you have a tour partner or you get stuck on other people's schedules. Take that time to fill your own cup so you're able to fill others. And
Yes.
and as you were saying, invest in yourself. Typically for this line of work, you need a reliable vehicle.
Hmm.
Um, like that's really important. Most jobs
Hmm.
aren't going to want to hire you if you don't. And like you said, educating yourself. there's books, there's materials out there. Aside from just the CDL, I think something that helped me more for this tour to get back on the road was I did a yoga teacher training as well. So it
Mm,
taught me how to fill my own cup, and it taught me how to just try to respond from my highest self. It's not easy when things are always in motion and you're moving and everything is
yeah.
it's not always easy to be your highest self, but when you take care of yourself first, then, and like out in this field, always having to check in with managers, sometimes you're going to deal with people who aren't so nice. But if
Mm-hmm.
you are taking care of yourself and if you are feeling good, then it doesn't matter what anyone else does.
Everything else around you
Mm-hmm.
is going to take care of
Mm-hmm.
itself regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some strong advice, and I thank you for sharing that, because a lot of times we get caught up in the money and the and doing the event, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if you don't have the right energy, if you're not healthy physically, emotionally, spiritually,
So
mentally,
important. On
it can
tour,
affect
it's
other things.
hard. It can be hard.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Mhm.
what has working in this industry afforded you to do that you couldn't do working a 9 to 5?
I think I just said it. The fact that I was able to go to Peru to do a yoga teacher training. I think I also said in the other interview, that's the thing about contracted work, we decide when we work.
Hmm.
Like it's that simple. People on a 9 to 5, they have to schedule their vacations where we decide, okay, can I work this contracted event, this program? Yes, and this is where my vacation will go. Perfect. And we can decide, depending on how much we save when we go back to work. If we're
Hmm.
hustlers and we want to get it, then we go. I mean, it's better to go while the going's good. But if you need to take time for yourself, you can.
Yeah, that's true. And it's so important that you do take time to yourself to recharge,
Mm-hmm.
because every tour, every program is going to present a new set of challenges, a new account manager, a new personality, a new client
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to have to be able to work through. And being able to channel and have that 10 minutes of time or 30 minutes of time, like you said, in the morning, is extremely important. So thank
Yeah.
you for shedding light on that, on the
Thank
importance of
you.
just taking care of yourself from a personal perspective. And more importantly, thank you for taking the time to share your story today. I'm gonna leave you to chime in. Any last words? My last question was, in your free time outside of being an EXP, like what are some things that
Mm-hmm.
you're passionate about? So you can expand on that, and also, any advice that you would have, just in life advice. It doesn't have to be experiential marketing related, just life advice that you've learned over the
Just
years.
life advice. Well, you know, I feel like life is just so temporary and you never know, right? Not anything in this life can happen. Just my life advice is just to try to be the best version of yourself you can be, and to try to care for the people around you, not to take care of them, but to care for them. And I just think, at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to be there is the prophecy that you leave and the way that you treat people. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. That's all that's left. For you, you have a book. So you left a little trail behind. Like,
Yeah.
that's my best advice, is leave trails behind that you would be proud for your children to hear about in
Mm,
your life, whatever it
that's
be.
deep.
My personal choice is with yoga and it helps me get to that place. But yeah, man, I don't have time for this jealousy stuff or for any of this stuff because life is just too short for it.
Yeah.
And I just think, yeah, just try to be someone that your grandchildren will be proud of. So,
Yes. Oh, that's good. That's good
mm-hmm.
advice. And on another note, just thank you for your energy. I feel it resonating through this interview,
Yeah,
and your
baby. Yeah,
spirit,
baby.
and thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for taking the time today to conduct this interview and shed light on your journey, on your experiences, because everybody, when they enter this industry, goes through something different. Everybody has a different path they take to
That's
get
true.
to where they are. You, CDL-A tour manager, driver, and your journey is completely different than mine, than anybody else in this industry. So
Do you
it's
have
important
an
that,
interview with your journey? I'd like to check that out. Or is that
yeah,
in your book?
yeah. Well, how about you interview me? We can do that. I'm cool with doing
Yeah.
it. And I share my
Okay, cool.
journey in my book too. But yeah, I'm cool with being interviewed. And I talk about my journey and I'm very transparent about it because it's important that people see that it wasn't easy. It takes time.
Mm,
And I had God called me to do this to assist others. And I have to continue to do God's work and continue to help others by any means necessary. So my journey and doing what I do and still being out here currently on tour in Sacramento is different. And being able to shed light and share my stories and share the things that I go through on a day-to-day basis just makes it more real for a lot of EXPs, and it makes it relatable, and it makes it something that they can latch on. And I want to be able for people to look back and say, man, if Jay did it, given her circumstances and what she went through,
hmm.
I can do it. And I'm here to help, and that's the main thing. So, and people like
Thank
you
you
and
for
other
creating this
EXPs,
platform.
thank
Hmm.
you, welcome, and EXPs
Hmm.
like you and every other EXPs who take the time to respond to emails or respond to comments and provide their insight in the group. I appreciate it so much because I was scared to start, this journey and do this, but doing so has showed me that hey, people needed to hear it and it's beneficial. So
You
thank
know,
you
you
again.
got me all shy earlier, so you know I understand. But I really thank you for creating this platform. Thank you for being the soldier that you are, because you're a road warrior out there on the road making time to create this content. And I really admire and respect that.
Thank you. Thank you so
Hmm.
much. And like I said before, it's not just me, it's everybody shedding light on their stories and how they got to where they are. So, Ashley, I'm going to conclude with this. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. Thank you for sharing your story. Good luck on your next program. I know you're going to kill it in Fort Lauderdale,
Yay.
Fort
Thank
Lauderdale.
you.
And
Fort
hopefully, when
Lauderdale.
I'll meet you when I come down to Florida. So definitely
Beautiful.
EXP. This video will be up for a while. If you have any other questions that you want to ask myself or Ashley, drop them in the comments. We'll get to you. And feel free to share this video with anybody who is looking to begin a career or wants to learn about Ashley's journey. Oh, and how she's been
You
able to
baby.
move up in the experiential marketing industry. So enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. And as always, if you have any questions or you need any advice, I'm here. All right.
Bye.
Bye.